Okay, platypuses, today our science lesson is going to be about the big bird watch. And you might remember doing this in school, and we are going to find out how you can take part at home. Okay, so your learning question today is, can I identify and name a variety of birds in my local environment? So that is in the area around you. Okay, so first of all, we're just going to have a think about, we know that birds might look pretty to look at, okay, but actually they are very important for the environment. They help to create a wide range of plant life, okay, through pollination and through like seed dispersal, like spreading seeds to create new plant life, okay, and they help control insect outbreaks, okay, and they also help rid the world of disease, okay, through scavenger cleanup services, like some of the birds called carrion crows and magpies. Okay, so they are actually quite important to the environment as well as very nice to look at. So we are going to do the bird watch, and it is something that we always take part in at school, and it is through something called the RSPB. Okay, and the RSPB is a charity, and it stands for, as you can see here, the Royal Society for the Protection of Birds. Okay, so what is the Big Bird Watch? Now, hopefully you'll remember from doing it in school, but the Big Bird Watch is taking place from the beginning of January until the end of February, and we're going to think about it this week. So what is it all about? Can you remember what we did in school? Can you remember going outside into the playground and doing your bird watching? Okay, so the bird watch is a really nice time to help you get outside and to learn more about birds in your environment. Okay, usually we do it in school, but you're going to do it in the environment around you. Now, you might have a garden, you might not have a garden, and that's fine. Okay, so you can do it either in your garden, you might have a balcony, you might be able to do it from looking out of your balcony onto your balcony. You might not have a balcony or garden, and that's still absolutely fine because you can still look out of your window. You could still actually do it by going actually to the park. Okay, so wherever you live, you'll still be able to take part in this. So it is about observing birds in the area, okay, and it is also a very important. Scientists use this information, okay. So when people do this bird watching, do you remember when we submitted our data to the RSPB, and scientists use it to find out the types and the amount of birds in certain areas, okay. So actually, it's you will be taking part in a very important activity, okay, as well as learning all about birds. Now, you can submit your own data, okay, by going onto the RSPB Birdwatch. Usually we do it together at school, okay, but if you go onto the RSPB website, you can do that with your family, okay, so you can still take part, and it's something you will be taking part as a citizen scientist. That's what it's called. So you're helping scientists find out more about birds in your local area. Okay, so let's have a look. So what can you do? So there are lots of different things that you can do. You can count birds, you can identify birds through their sound and their appearance, you can make bird feeders, you can write fact files, you can collate data in different formats, and you can draw different birds. Now, we're going to be doing some of these activities today, and we're going to be doing some other activities throughout the week as well. So let's have a look. The activity that I want you to do today is to be able to count the amount of birds. So you're going to be identifying the birds and counting how many different types of birds you found. So counting different types of birds is very important. Through counting birds, the bird population can be monitored. And if there is a dip in the number of certain birds, the RSPB can investigate why this might be. Okay, so it's very important to find out why For example, there might not be so many pigeons in one area or so many sparrows if there were a lot of them at one point. Equally, the increasing number of birds needs monitoring too, as this has implications on food availability and breeding spaces. Okay, so it's very important to know about their food and about breeding. Okay, so count the different types of birds you see in one place in an hour and record your results in a table. So that's what you're going to do today. You are going to spend some time, okay, either looking out of your window or going to a park or going into your garden and having a look and seeing how many birds you can find, okay? And it says here, did you know in the last 35 years, the number of blue tits recorded has risen by 20%, and the number of wood pigeons has risen by 800%. So imagine all of those wood pigeons. Okay, so I'm going to show you an example that you can use to record your bird counting. Okay, so this is the one here on the left side is what we would usually use at school. But it might be a bit tricky for you because actually you don't have, you might not have a printer at home, and that's absolutely fine. Do you know what? You can just make your own tally chart. So I've just made my own tally chart here, and you can draw this in your book. So do you see what I've done? I've put the names of the birds down here, okay? Before you do this activity, you will need to do a bit of research and know and find out about the different birds and know which ones are which. And I'll show you how to do that afterwards. And then you are going to do a tally. So do you remember doing a tally? We do lots of tallies at school. We do tallies for keeping count of the team points, okay? So you do one is a line like this, 2 is like that, 3, 4, but when we get to 5, we put a cross through it, okay? So if you saw 5 robins, you would put your tally like this. If you saw 3 magpies, your tally would look like this. And you just keep going depending on how many you found. Okay, so let's have a look. So identifying birds. So identifying birds can be quite tricky. And I'm just going to give you some tips here. So many birds do not look like they do in books. They are sometimes a bit bigger or smaller in real life. Their feathers are replaced about twice a year, so they may look duller at different times in the year. In colder weathers, birds often fluff out their feathers, which make them look rounder and fluffier than usual, so to keep themselves warm. Use your ears. This is very important. Not only your eyes, but you need to use your ears as well as your eyes. You may think you know what birds sound like, but listen to some clips on the RSPB website and see if there are any you haven't heard before. And this is very important. I put the website down here. So you can go onto this website, so the rspb.org.uk, and there are, so you can listen to what birds sound like. There is also a little quiz to help you identify some birds. So if you're not sure which bird you have seen, do you know what you could do? So you could take a photo of the bird, and then you could go onto this website and you could then find out actually which bird it is by doing the mini quiz. It's by answering some questions, and it will help you find out the name of this bird. This is where you have to look really carefully and listen really carefully to help you identify the bird that you have found. Okay, now, so that was your activity. So let me just go back. Your activity was to count the amount of birds that you see, okay? So you are not only doing sights, you're doing a bit of maths here, you're doing counting, and you're making a tally chart, okay? And then, so let's go. Now, another thing you might like to do is you might like to make a bird feeder. Do you remember we made bird feeders at school last year? And I think I did them with year 2 last year, and you did them with Mr. Fielder, okay? And birds, it's really important to keep food out for birds. So birds need food all year round, and in the winter it can be harder for them to find it. So you could make a bird feeder using pine cones and lard, stuffed with seeds and nuts to make a tasty snack for those hungry birds. That's one idea, okay? And then the other one, this is the one that lots of us made last year at school, okay? We made a recycled bird feeder out of a plastic bottle. And you don't have to put these wooden spoons in there, but if you have got some wooden spoons at home, you can do this. And this is kind of like a little resting place. It's like the bird can perch on here and get the seeds out of the bottle, okay? So if you do make a bird feeder, I would love to see a picture of it. So please do share it with me. That would be great for me. I'd love to see how you're getting on. Okay, so you have got your activity of counting the birds to do. You could make a bird feeder, okay? And your extra challenge is you might like to do a little bit of research on the different birds. So you could find out a bit about their habitat, you could find out about the kind of foods they eat, and things like that, okay? So you might want to create a poster or a fact file. So please do share your work with me. I really would like to see it, and have fun with your bird spotting.